Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taryn and you're watching Sowing the City on YouTube. First, I want to thank you so much for being here. So as you can tell by the title of this video, this will be an updated garden tour for the spring/summer garden season. And I skipped last week, so I think this is week 4, okay? So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay y'all, so as you can see right here, this is a sweet potato garden bed, or the sweet potato raised bed, and I think it's doing quite well. So these vines are getting much larger, specifically these 2 vines. This is slowly getting larger, but these are getting much larger. Now, I did not start these vines myself. I wanted to, but I just didn't have time to do them myself this year. So instead, I bought these sweet potato slips offline on Etsy, and they are doing really well. And they are regular sweet potatoes. Last year, I did the purple sweet potatoes, and they are good. I still have some left. They're delicious, but this year I just wanted to just do the normal sweet potatoes, so that's what these are. And they do take a while to grow. I believe at least 3 months at the very least. So yeah, I'm just gonna let these do what they need to do. I planted them at the very end of May, so it's gonna be a while until I can harvest them. Okay y'all, so as you can see right here, this is the first raised bed that I'm gonna show you, and this has really grown. Okay, like from the last time I showed you this until now, you can probably tell how things have just really taken off. And so I'm gonna explain to you what exactly is all in this bed. So I'm gonna start with these really pretty leaves right here. So I did not start this particular plant right here. As beautiful as it is, I didn't start it. What happened was, my dad and I wanted to use some compost in our raised beds, because when you add compost to your raised beds, it just brings a lot of nutrients to your raised beds. So we added some compost that my neighbor made, and the compost was great, very soft and just really, really wonderful. However, some of the seeds from the veggies that they used didn't completely deteriorate, I guess. So we had a lot of volunteer seedlings, and so some of the volunteer seedlings we went ahead and took up, and I gave them away to my church. But we did keep one in particular, and this is the one that we kept. And I do believe, from my research, now when I say research, I mean I just used this little plant identification app, and from my research it says that it's some kind of winter squash. And then in the midst of all of that, I have some marigolds. Okay, I have about 4 marigold plants. I started those from seed, and I'm so happy about it. And I have 5. I have 5 watermelon plants in here as well. It's like a madhouse in here. So there's lots of vining vegetables in here. You can see that we only have 1 trellis up right now, and I know for a fact I'm going to have to, or my dad and I are going to have to add on to that for sure. We're definitely going to put a trellis right here on this side, and we might have to put some kind of trellis on top of it. I mean, who knows? We may also just let it grow out, you know, this way, because there's nothing but where I'm pointing, there's nothing really over in this section of the garden, so we'll just have to see. But right now all of the vines are growing and they're getting larger, and I like that. I don't believe we have any fruit on these plants yet. I don't think so, but we are getting flowers and lots of vines, so I'm confident that the bees will do their job and give me fruit. Yeah, so this is another raised bed that you're seeing right here, and you can see that things are starting to take off in here as well. So in this bed, I don't believe we have any squash, and the reason why I kind of sound like I'm second guessing is because like I said, we had lots of volunteer seedlings, so I think we took all of those out, but I don't think we have any more. So all of the plants that are in here should be the ones that we put in here. So you can see we have some volunteer tomato plants. I did not plant these. I think these volunteered because last season we did have some cherry tomatoes in this bed. So I'm really interested to see if they can continue to grow and thrive, being that they're in a bed with lots of watermelons. Okay, so that's what we have here. And I have 4 watermelon plants in this bed. I think I have 2 yellow gem sweet varieties, and then 1 moon and star variety of watermelon plants. So these are a little bit, the vines are growing. They're not as big as the other bed, but they are growing, and I'm very happy about that. So yeah, I'm excited to see the plants continue to grow. I think these are just now starting to get buds on them or flowers on them. I do need to fertilize the garden again. I fertilized it last week, and I'm going to fertilize it again maybe this Sunday, I think. So I think that will also help it to continue to grow and thrive. And I want to say, before I move on to the next bed, my dad and I have struggled with growing watermelons in the past. So if we can get some watermelons this garden season, we would be so grateful and happy about that. So I think out of everything we have in this large garden of ours, the watermelons is like one of the things we're really focusing on. So I would be so happy if we can just get, honestly, 1 watermelon. Okay, so y'all, this is the tomato bed section of the garden. Wow, I have to be honest, it's been kind of stressful with this part of the garden. So for whatever reason, and I think there's a few reasons why this is happening. We have what I think is like black spot disease or something, tomato black spot disease, or it's some type of disease where, you know, you see the dots on the tomato leaves. It's kind of stressful, I'll be honest with you, but my dad did some research and he's very helpful. I'm so grateful to have him helping me with this garden. I could not do it without him. You know, it probably has to do with me overwatering the plants sometimes, and also it has to do with the fact that we had these white flies that were so annoying. And when I first came over here, I saw them all the time, and that pest pressure can also cause some issues with your plants, on top of overwatering. And then I think that this concoction that I had made was a little bit too strong. I made this like soapy water essential oil concoction, and I guess maybe I used too much soap or too much essential oils. I don't know. All in all, there was this issue of black spots on the tomato plants. It's looking a little bit better than it did before, I will say. What I've done is take off the leaves that look bad, and I still have some that I have to take off, but for the most part I try to take off the leaves that look bad, and I try to you know, try to keep the plants apart from each other as much as I can, even though it is like a little jungle back here. And I also have been using this fungicide that I got. It's for organic gardeners, and it's supposed to help with pest pressure and black spot disease. So, you know, we'll see what happens. This is really an important part of the garden for me as well, because I started all of these tomato plants from seed in my house during the winter. So I want them to do well. And you know, I can't be so hard on myself. Everything won't always go perfect, but it you know, it's looking decent. So I wanted to say, if anyone has any advice on how to deal with, like, you know, this type of issue, please feel free to help me out. Or like, if there's anything I can do, let me know. Or if there's anything I can do better in the future to try to deal with this ahead of time, please let me know, okay? So this is our fruit tree section. There's so many fruit trees behind me that I know you probably can't see everything, so I'll just start with like tree by tree. This is one of our peach trees. This one, so some of our peach trees didn't really have any fruit this year, and some people have been commenting like, how old is your tree? You know, it may not be old enough to, you know, produce fruit. These trees are supposed to be able to produce fruit pretty soon after you get them. Because we got them from a website, fastgrowingtrees.com, and so they say they are supposed to be able to produce fruit pretty soon. We've had this tree for 3 years, so about 4 garden seasons or something like that. For 3 years though, and it did produce a couple fruits last season, but I think the issue was, instead of keeping this out in the garden all year long and like through the winter, we put it in the greenhouse, so it didn't get that cold hours that it needs. Someone commented last time, certain plants have to go through, you know, cold temperatures just so they can get the ability to produce fruit. So it being in the greenhouse kept it from getting that cold temperatures that it really needed to get. And I think that's the issue, because this one is not producing any fruit this year at all. But the other fruit tree, the other peach tree that's in the back, did produce fruit this year, and I'll show you that in a minute. This right here, I talk about it a lot. I talked about it in my old or my previous garden tour video. This was my hibiscus tree. It was literally my favorite tree, okay? Last year it was so beautiful, and we put it in the greenhouse like we were supposed to, but it got way too cold that even the greenhouse was too cold for it, and so it has died. And I mean, like some people say, check it and scratch it, and we did, and look, it's dead, right? Like the stem is just falling over. So I don't know why we haven't pulled it out the ground yet. I think we're just hesitating because it was so beautiful. But life happened, and it's dead. So I definitely will not be getting another hibiscus tree because I don't want to keep it inside my house. And the greenhouse gets too cold sometimes, even though we do have a heater for it. So I'm just going to have to leave the hibiscus plants to the tropical plant area, people, okay? I'm so jealous. Okay, so we only have a few trees left to talk about. This is our plum tree, one of our native trees. So this is a similar story. I do need to put some neem oil on it. I think it may be going through some pest pressure. But overall, we did get some flowers on it earlier throughout the season, but it was in the greenhouse, and I don't think it got the one pollination that it should have gotten in the cold hours. Like, it stayed in that warm greenhouse throughout the season, so it just, you know, it didn't get what it needed to be able to produce fruit. And so, right here is my favorite tree because it's the only tree that's really produced fruit for us. This is our peach tree, and we still have like a couple of peaches that are on here. I've been squeezing them every so often to make sure that they're not ripe yet, and they are not. So we've gotten a lot of peaches off of here, like 20 I think, and so there's like 3 left on here, so I'm very grateful for that. You know, this is pretty much the only tree that's provided for us, and I'm so grateful. These peaches taste so good. They are so sweet, and they just taste like candy. Like, they actually taste like candy. It's so good. And my dad and I think we have enough to make a small peach cobbler, so that's what we're gonna do. Like a small peach cobbler that is what we're gonna make with the peaches that we harvested from this, and so I'm so excited. Okay, y'all, so now we're back to the raised bed section. This is our squash raised bed. So all of the plants in here are different varieties of squash, okay? So this really big one right here, this really big one is zucchini squash. It's huge. Like, I wasn't expecting the plant to get so big so soon, to be honest. You can see that we have a trellis here for it. We're definitely gonna have to maybe put, well, no, I was thinking about maybe putting something on top of it, but I think the trellises that we have here are pretty good. There's one on each side, and so that they're keeping the plant up and sturdy, which I love. And so yeah, I'm just really waiting for the plant to actually get some fruit on it. We finally have some flowers in there, some flower buds. which is really exciting. That means we should be getting some fruit soon. Last year we had some fruit on the yellow squash, so I thought last year that I had planted some zucchini squash, but in reality I planted some yellow squash. So hopefully we get some zucchini squash this year, because that's what I really like. Okay, and then right next to the first zucchini squash, we have another zucchini squash here. This plant is a little bit smaller, but still big enough and large and healthy looking. And I still have this marigold plant in the in its pot. I need to plant this. I keep forgetting to plant this in the ground. I have no reason. But this is the second zucchini squash. This also has some flowers on it. Hopefully it gets pollinated correctly. I haven't been out here pollinating it myself. Like, there is a way for you to hand pollinate squash yourself, but I haven't been doing that. But I think tomorrow I may actually come out here and try to check on it and see if I need to pollinate it. You know, because sometimes people like to pollinate squash themselves just to make sure, you know, it gets done correctly. Because sometimes people will have some squash that kind of gets slimy because it wasn't pollinated correctly. So, you know, but hey, I think it'll be cool. All right, so now we're like on the back side of the squash bed. So I'm really happy about this plant. This one, and I know it's kind of hard to tell the difference between this squash and this squash, but this squash right here that's leaning towards this trellis, this is a butternut squash. Okay, now I've never grown butternut squash before. I really don't know what I'm doing, but you know, it's growing and it's doing, and it's you know, it has its vines and it's starting to move along here, which I'm really happy about. Some of these leaves do have like sunburnt, I guess is what you call it, but I think that's okay. I may just need to get, you know, like a shade cloth. I may need to do that because the sun can scorch. The sun can get really just hot, so I may need to do that. But overall, I think it's looking pretty healthy. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. So that's what this is. And then over on that side, on the very side over there, we have a yellow squash. That's the only yellow squash plant that I have, because that's my least favorite squash. I still love yellow squash, but that's the one that I like. If I had to choose my squashes, it would be zucchini and the butternut and then yellow. So I only have one yellow squash back there, and it's looking like it's doing quite well. I see some flowers and I see what looks to be some baby squash. So now we are at another raised bed. This raised bed behind me is really cool to me because I'm growing one of my other favorite things to grow besides watermelon and tomatoes is cucumbers. So that's what you see behind me right here. And so these cucumbers are really doing well right now. Basically what I need is a trellis. And I was just talking to my dad today about that. We're gonna get some trellises for this, because if I don't get a trellis, they're just gonna grow out here and just sprawl all on the floor, which isn't what I really want, because then that'll make it difficult to see the cucumbers. Like, I'll have to be picking through here. So, and they already have buds on them, which I'm really excited about. I'll be out here tomorrow morning, like I said, just to go through all of these beds and see if I need to help with pollination. But I think it's doing pretty well, but just in case, I might come out and help out. But yeah, so I have 4 different types of cucumbers in this bed. I have one Boston pickling cucumber over here, 2 silver slicers right here and right here, and 1 muncher cucumber. Now, I've never grown the muncher cucumber ever, but it's supposed to be like really good. And it's like small and really nice to snack on. Like, some people just bite right into it in the garden, so we'll see. And this marigold, I just don't know what's up with this. It's like so bushy. When I started this myself, by the way, but when I first planted that, it had beautiful flowers, and now it's just gotten so bushy so bushy, and I can't see the flowers. So I don't know what that is about. I don't know if there's like a bunch of them. Maybe I put more marigolds than I thought I did. I don't know, but There's a few marigolds in here. There's some nasturtiums hidden in here. You can barely see them, but they are there. So yeah, that's the cucumber bed, and the cucumbers are cucumbering. I also need to show you my strawberry plant that's growing on the outside of this cucumber raised bed. So as you can see, this plant is looking so healthy. There's even some strawberries on it. I actually harvested some strawberries that I'll show you. But yeah, it's looking really well. So this is a wild strawberry plant, so the strawberries aren't going to be so like thick. They're going to be more small like this. But it's looking really good. So this is the grow bag garden section. Okay, so there's a lot of grow bags in my garden, but for right now I'm going to show you this small section. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grow bags all have green beans in them, and these also need trellises on them as well. I'm just now realizing, I'm like, look, these will need a trellis too, because if I don't give them trellises, they'll just lean over. But I have I think 2 different varieties of green beans, but they're all bush varieties. So you can get a bush variety, or you can get a like a trellis variety. These are a bush variety because they're in a grow bag, so it'll just be easier. And even though they are a bush variety, I still think it would help them grow better with a little trellis, just to help them be sturdy. And these are green beans. I'm trying to remember the variety. I think they're like blue something, blue lake or something. I'll put it on the screen. Blue something is one of the varieties. But they're supposed to be like really delicious. I grew green beans last year, but the ones I grew last year was like tender green. So now I'm growing a different variety, and I'm just really excited about it because I love me some green beans. They're just really healthy, have lots of protein in them, and once you start harvesting them, you'll keep getting them. Every time you harvest, you'll get some more. It's one of the easiest things to grow, in my opinion. Green beans, one of the easiest things to grow. But you might see that I have like 2 empty grow bags back here. That's because I had planted some black-eyed peas. I guess the black-eyed pea seeds that I had didn't really do the job because, like I said, those 2 grow bags are empty. That's okay because I went ahead and did my due diligence, purchased some more black-eyed pea seeds, which I just got. So I will be planting those maybe this weekend, because I do think we're going to get some rain this weekend. So I'll be planting some black-eyed peas along with some other things as like one of my the last things that I need to plant for this garden season. So this is another favorite part of the garden for me. And I can't even get all of these grow bags in the picture. Like, there's more grow bags. I can only get so many of them in this picture, but this is the bell pepper, the hot pepper / sweet pepper, bell pepper grow bag section. All of these peppers except for 2 were started from seed inside of my house, and it's really just a mixture of red bell peppers, it's a mixture of red bell peppers, orange bell peppers, yellow bell peppers, and I have 1 chocolate beauty bell pepper. I'm so excited about that. I've never grown that before, so I'm excited to see how that looks. I also have like 2 jalapeno peppers somewhere in here. I did label, but I don't know where in here it is. But I do have at least 1 hot pepper, and most of these were started from seed. So I'm really excited about that because it's hard growing peppers from seed. Sometimes it can be hard to germinate the seeds. So the fact that all of these peppers were started inside of my house is awesome. And I also have a celery right there. That's 1 celery plant. That's the only celery plant that I have. I've never grown it before, so I don't even know how long it takes to grow and everything like that. But hey, it's there and it's doing what it needs to do. I also have a sunflower growing. If you look right here, this beautiful sunflower just popped up in the driveway in my garden on its own. I will have an actual sunflower patch. I am kind of late with that, but I do want to have an actual sunflower patch in the garden. I'm going to show you the area where I want to put the sunflower patch. I know I'm kind of late with starting my sunflowers, but I do want to have an actual sunflower patch in the garden. So I am going to put like a bunch of sunflowers in another area of the garden. I'm going to show you that later. But for right now, that's the only sunflower that I actually have. I was expecting more sunflowers to volunteer in the garden, but we have done a lot of work as far as landscaping in the garden. So maybe we would have had more had we not done that. But that's the only volunteer sunflower that popped up on its own. These are looking so healthy. I'm so happy about these. These look great. Now these tomato plants are Black Beauty, I believe. They're called Black Beauty, and I've never grown them before. They're so beautiful though, from what I've seen online, and they're supposed to be very savory. So I've only grown super sweet tomatoes, so this will be the first time growing a savory tomato, and I cannot tell you how excited I am. I'm genuinely excited. I just want to make the most delicious tomato sandwich. I'll be the happiest girl. Like, I'll be so happy. So I'm excited. I just want to make a tomato sandwich. I certainly won't be making pasta sauce with dark tomatoes like that. These will be strictly for like tomatoes. Okay, y'all, so this behind me is my beautiful pear tree. Still don't have any flowers on it yet. I don't know. This past winter was so very cold. I hope it actually does produce this year. We've had it for, I think, 4 years. And it's like we've had fruit on this tree all of those years. But this past winter it was so very cold. It got down to 9 degrees, like actual 9 degrees, single digits. And so I don't know if that just like shocked the tree. I don't know. And it also could be that I just need to be patient. Like, you know, it's still early in the growing season. This very well could produce blooms, you know, in a few months. So who knows? But right now it still looks perfectly healthy, perfectly fine, just no flowers on it yet. Y'all, this is the last section of the garden that, nope, I'm lying. This is one of the last sections of the garden that I'm going to show you. So right here is the cinder block section of the raised bed. The cinder block section of the raised bed. The cinder block section of the garden. And my dad made this himself. So here I have a mixture of, I think like some what's it called? Bee balm or something like that. Oh Lord, I'm gonna put that on the screen. A flower for the bees. 2 flowers for the hummingbirds. Even though I think they're like at their end of their life for this season. But they're very pretty. I have 3 of them. I also started some seeds myself. I have some tomato seeds mixed in here with some weeds that I need to pull. Over here, I also have some okra. These okras are just so bunched up together. I'm probably gonna have to pull some out because I just put like a bunch of seeds in this bed for the okra and just let them germinate. So that's what you see here. I'm gonna have to pull some of them out because they're all just so, you know, bunched up on top of each other. But that is my okra. So I love okra. I need to grow okra so that I can eat my gumbo. So that's what that is. Now I still want to put some sunflowers in this bed. I also want to put an eggplant. So it's going to be a lot in here. But I want to put a sunflower in this bed, and I want to put eggplant. I want to put some herbs too, but I might put herbs on this side. So I'm going to put some more herbs somewhere in these beds, some sunflowers and an eggplant. So that's what I'm doing. Hey y'all, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's it for today. So that was the 4th week garden tour for the spring/summer 2023 garden season. And if you did enjoy it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also you can share this video if you feel inclined to do so. I would greatly appreciate it, okay? Thank you so much. But wait, don't forget, no matter what you're going through, no matter how stressful your day is, remember, just keep sowing. Bye.